All right, so we have spoken about atoms in our previous lecture video thing. Okay, now we're going to be talking about ions. All right, we're going to be talking about ions. And pretty much an ion is an atom. Let me erase all of this. An atom, blah. An ion is an atom that has either lost or it has gained electrons, all right? So all of these atoms over here, all of these guys in the periodic table, well, except these guys, don't look at them. Stop looking at them. Except for those guys, all right? All of these guys here, they can either lose or gain electrons, all right? They can either lose or gain electrons. And we need to be specific, all right? There is a specific amount of electrons that they can lose or gain, okay? So let me just hide these numbers here because they're kind of distracting. All the elements that are in this group over here, okay? We call it this group 1, all right? All the elements in group 1, they lose 1 electron, all right? They lose 1 electron. If you guys remember, electrons have a negative charge, all right? And what is the charge of a proton? A proton is positive, okay? Protons are positive. I always like to use lithium as an example. Okay, lithium is over here, by the way. Lithium has 3 protons. And from our previous lectures, because it has 3 protons, we know that it also has 3 electrons, okay? The little dots in the middle, I'm referring to it as protons. And these X's, I'm referring to it as electrons, all right? 3 electrons. Can you see the 2 electrons that are right here and right here? There's a reason why they're inside, but don't worry about that yet. Just know that it has 3 electrons, okay? And you can see the 3 X's representing the 3 electrons. Now, it's possible for not only lithium, but all the elements in this group, okay? They can lose 1 electron. But before we talk about it losing an electron, can you see that the number of protons that are inside of the middle, the number of protons inside of the middle, it's the same number as the number of electrons. So I'm going to put positives for protons. Okay, can you see there are 3 protons and there are 3 electrons. Now I mentioned that it's possible for lithium to lose an electron. So let's erase an electron. Let's, boom, get rid of an electron. And because we've gotten rid of an electron, the total charge that we can see here tells us that there's more positives than negatives, right? Exactly, there's 1 extra positive than there is an extra negative, okay? A lot of you guys, this may have been a little counterintuitive for a lot of you guys. So considering that there are more positives than negatives, there's exactly 1 extra positive than there is negative, okay? We call it +1, okay? That is when lithium has lost an electron, okay? I told you guys all the elements in this group can lose 1 electron, all right? They can lose 1 electron. Actually, you know what? I didn't want to do this, but I am going to do this right now. I always use the build an atom fat lab. Fat simulation. This is a perfect way in which we can depict what happens with ions. So I was talking about creating lithium. So lithium has 3 protons, 1, 2, 3. You can see that we created lithium. And can you see the positives over here? All right, this just tells us lithium is positive. All right, no, this tells us that we have 3 protons, okay? And then I'm going to add electrons. 1, 2, 3 electrons. Now you can see this is balanced out. The number of protons and the number of electrons are the same. Now it's possible for lithium, not only lithium, but that whole group in which lithium is in, they can lose an electron. And when it loses an electron, you can see that it becomes +1. All right, because there's more positives, more protons than there are electrons. And that is where the positive negative saga comes in, where you guys says that when it's losing, it's positive, when it's gaining, it's negative. So when it's negative, it's positive, when it's positive, it's negative. Yeah, you guys see a whole bunch of things, okay? That is where all of that come from. Do not confuse that with atoms. Never confuse that with atoms, okay? Ions is only when we're dealing with the positives and the negatives, okay? Do not put positive and negative for atoms or isotopes. Only ions, all right? Only ions. So I told you, all these guys over here, they lose one electron, and that is where the plus one comes in, okay? The plus one comes in because they've lost an electron. Now, all the elements in this group over here, let's call it group beryllium, they lose 2 electrons. All right, they lose 2 electrons. Let us go back to our PhET lab and create beryllium. Let us create beryllium. So this is lithium. Beryllium has 4 protons, so I'm going to add an extra proton. All right, and beryllium, that means beryllium has 4 electrons. So 3, 4 electrons. So you can see here that the number of protons is the same as the number of electrons. All right, now in that group, in group beryllium, it's possible for them to lose 2 electrons. Okay, they can only lose 2 electrons. And when group beryllium loses 2 electrons, look what happens to the charge over here, this number. So let's take away 2 electrons. 1, 2 electrons. All right. So as we're taking away 2 electrons, you can see that it's plus 2. So that means whenever we have plus 2, we've gotten rid of 2 electrons. Okay. Now, I told you guys, don't worry about these guys over here in the middle, all right? Don't worry about them in the middle. They are so special. They have a whole topic all by themselves. All the elements that are in this group, group boron, they lose 3 electrons. So I'm going to put plus 3, 3, 3, 3. You know what I mean, plus 3. You guys should already have this on your periodic table. And all the elements in this group over here, group carbon, they either lose 3 or gain 3 electrons. So I'm going to put plus, sorry, did I say 3? 4. Plus or minus 4. They either lose 4 or gain 4 electrons. All the elements in group nitrogen, they gain 3 electrons, okay? And that is why it's minus 3. Electrons are negative charges. I think about it like negative energy. If I'm gaining negative energy, I'm becoming more negative. So these are minus 3. And all the elements in group oxygen, they're minus 2. These guys are minus 1. And these guys are 0. I told you, they don't do jack. Nothing. Nada. They don't do nothing. So, let's solve a few problems knowing all of this, okay? Only use plus, minus, negative, positives. Only use those for ions, okay? So, if you see F minus 1, first look for F on your periodic table. F is fluorine, and fluorine is all the way over here, all right? And you can see that fluorine is under the minus 1 group, all right? Fluorine is in the minus 1 group. So what does that mean? Does it lose or does it gain electrons? Pause this video and think about that answer. Think about it in the light of negative energy, okay? If you gain negative energy, do you become positive or do you become negative? When you lose negative energy, do you become positive or do you become negative? The reason fluorine is negative over here, he must have gained negative energy, all right? So, yeah. Now we just need to solve the rest. So we know that fluorine has an atomic number of 9. That is where this number over here comes from, that 9. So atomic number is 9. The mass number of, sorry, I'm calling it fluorine. I should be calling it fluorine ion because fluorine F and fluorine ion, these are 2 different things, all right? My bad. I made a mistake, okay? Leave me alone. Get off my case, all right? Leave me alone. So, the mass number of fluorine ion is this number, but remember we need to round it, okay? So it's 19. And then the atomic mass is that exact number over there, which is 18.998. And the number of protons for fluorine ion is, of course, the same. Remember, protons never change, ever. You never change protons. If you change protons, you change the element. Fluorine has 9 protons. Now, what changes in ions is electrons, okay? Electrons is what changes in ions. Let me... actually, no, it's okay. Electrons, 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 electrons. Electrons is what changes whenever we're talking about ions. Never forget that. So we know that originally fluorine atom has 9 electrons, okay? Just because it also has 9 protons. Now when we're talking about ions, remember that fluorine gained an electron, okay? And because fluorine gained an electron, he is not going to have 9 electrons. He will have 10 electrons now because fluorine ion indicates that fluorine gained an electron. So whenever we're differentiating between atoms and ions, what makes ions different is the number of electrons, all right? The number of electrons is different. We also have number of neutrons. You guys know what the neutrons are. You use the formula, get the two numbers, okay? Mass number, atomic number. And you subtract it. And when you subtract it, you'll get 10 as the neutrons. And this is an ion. Let me Al plus 3. Al plus 3. Alright, so let me rewrite this. Al plus 3. Alright, so aluminum has atomic number of 13. Alright, make sure you're following along with your periodic table. And aluminum has a mass number of... where aluminum at? 26.98. Oop, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? Aluminum has a mass number of 27. I'm tripping. 27. Now the average atomic mass, all right? The average atomic mass is the exact number that's on the periodic table, 26.982. And the number of protons for aluminum ion is 13, all right? And electrons, okay? Remember, electrons is what's different for ions. So looking at aluminum, what group does aluminum fall under? Aluminum falls under the group that loses or gains electrons. Which one? Under this group is a 3. Let me write it all the way up here. Plus 3, all right? Aluminum is under the plus 3 group. So does it lose or does it gain electron? Pause this video and answer that question. And if it gains electrons, how many electrons does it gain? If it loses electrons, how many electrons does it lose? Pause. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're back. Okay, so remember this plus 3 means it has lost 3 electrons. When it loses, it gains. When it gains, it loses. That's what a lot of people say in class. If you step outside of chemistry and you say that, people are going to look at you like, what? What are you guys talking about? So a lot of you guys say that and I laugh. All right, so so how many electrons does fluorine has now? Not fluorine, aluminum have now? Well, 10. Because that plus 3 means that it lost 3 electrons. And we solved the number of neutrons the same way. I don't know what it is because I suck at math and I'm not going to do the math in my head. But remember, to get number of neutrons, we're taking the atomic number minus the mass number. Atomic number is 27. Mass number is... sorry, mass number minus atomic number. Mass number is 27. Atomic number is 13. So when you minus that, whatever answer that you get. And this, of course, is an ion. And that's it for ions. This video is kind of lengthy. I'm going to stop it here.